Thought my marriage was hitting a rough patch. Turns out my wife was cheating on me with my own brother, lying straight to my face, and gaslighting me so hard I questioned my sanity. Found out in the dumbest, most brutal way possible. Everything blew up in one night. Family, marriage, trust, all gone. Still trying to process how two people I trusted most did this to me. Need advice before I make things worse. Throwaway account because my family lurks here and I'm not ready for that circus yet. So yeah, I'm that guy now. The one posting on a relationship advice subreddit at 3 a.m., rereading everything I type, wondering how my life turned into a bad Reddit cliche. I'm 35M. My wife, Emily, 33F, and I've been together for 10 years, married for 6. No kids, by choice, or at least that's what she always said. I thought we were solid. Not Instagram perfect, but stable. Shared bills, shared routines, shared future plans. Or so I thought. My brother, Jake, 37M, has always been larger than life. Older, louder, the family favorite. He's the guy who borrows money and somehow gets thanked for it. We've had our issues over the years, but blood is blood, right? He was around a lot. Family dinners, weekends, random drop-ins. I never questioned it. The first cracks were subtle enough that I ignored them, because that's what you do when you trust someone. Emily started changing. New clothes, new makeup, suddenly finding herself. Which is fine, except she paired that with a brand new habit of lying like it was a competitive sport. Little lies. Annoying lies. Lies that didn't even make sense. She'd say she was working late, but her laptop was still at home. She'd say she was with friends, but couldn't remember which ones. She'd swear she told me something already when she absolutely hadn't. And every single time I questioned it, she snapped back with, "Why are you interrogating me? God, you're so insecure lately." Classic gaslighting. I didn't call it that back then. I just felt crazy. Her phone became an extension of her body. Locked. Face down. Bathroom trips with it in hand, like it was a life support device. If I walked into the room while she was texting, she'd tilt the screen away and suddenly remember something urgent she needed to do. When I asked about it, she laughed and said, "Wow, paranoid much. Not everything is about you." Then she kissed my cheek like that set. The thing about denial is that it feels responsible. Mature even. Like you're choosing peace over paranoia. I told myself I was being a good husband by not jumping to conclusions. By trusting my wife. By trusting my brother. That sentence alone makes me want to punch a wall now. The first real what the hell moment happened on a Tuesday. Nothing special about the day, which somehow makes it worse. Emily told me she was staying late at work for a team dinner. She even complained about it, which in hindsight was part of the performance. Rolled her eyes, sighed, said, "I'd rather be home, but you know how it is." She kissed me, grabbed her coat, and left. Around 9 p.m., I realized I still had her laptop at home. She never went anywhere without it. I texted her, "Me, you forgot your laptop." No response. 30 minutes later, I texted again. Still nothing. That's when Jake called me, which was weird, because we don't randomly call each other at night. He said, "Hey man, you good?" I asked why. He paused, just a beat too long, then said, "No reason. Just checking in." My stomach dropped. That was the first time my brain whispered, something is very wrong. I decided to drive by Emily's office. I wasn't planning some big confrontation. I just wanted to calm myself down, prove I was overreacting. Her office parking lot was almost empty. A few cars. None of them were hers. I sat there in my car like an idiot, hands gripping the steering wheel, heart racing, trying to come up with reasonable explanations. Maybe they parked somewhere else. Maybe they took an Uber. Maybe. Then my phone buzzed. A text from Emily. "Sorry, dinner ran late. Phone died. On my way home now." Lie. Too fast. Too clean. I didn't respond. I drove home instead, my head buzzing like a swarm of angry bees. I got there before she did. Parked. Waited. 15 minutes later, a car pulled up. Not hers. It was Jake's. I watched him sit there for a second before getting out. He looked around like. I asked her calmly at first, "Do what exactly?" Emily looked at me like I was inconveniencing her. Not guilty. Not scared. Annoyed. Like I'd caught her double parked, not standing between her husband and his brother at 10:30 p.m. Jake immediately started backing up, hands raised. "Look, man, I can explain." "No," I said. "You really can't." Emily jumped in fast. She always did when she wanted control of the narrative. This isn't what you think, she said. Classic. Right out of the cheater's handbook. I laughed. I couldn't help it. It came out sharp and ugly. Then help me out. What do I think? She crossed her arms. Defensive posture. You're jumping to conclusions. You've been doing that a lot lately. There it was again. Make me the crazy one. Jake tried again. We were just talking. She was upset. You've been distant. I turned to him so fast my neck hurt. You don't get to diagnose my marriage. Emily rolled her eyes. Rolled. Her. Eyes. Oh my God, stop being dramatic. That's when something inside me snapped. Not rage, clarity. The kind where your brain finally stops protecting you. I said, how long? Silence. I repeated it, louder. How long? Emily scoffed. Why does that matter? That was answer enough. She finally admitted it in pieces. Drip-fed truths like she was rationing them. It just started recently. Lie. We didn't mean for it to happen. Lie. It was only emotional at first. Lie. Jake stared at the ground like it might swallow him whole. I asked again how long. Emily sighed like a tired teacher dealing with a stupid student. Since last summer. I felt physically sick. Summer. Family barbecues. Holidays. The night Jake crashed on our couch because he was too drunk to drive. I remembered Emily bringing him a blanket. I remembered them whispering in the kitchen while I slept. I ran to the bathroom and threw up. When I came back, Emily had the audacity to say, see, this is why I didn't want to tell you. You can't handle things calmly. I stared at her. Really stared. This woman I married. This stranger. Jake finally cracked. I'm sorry, man. I never wanted to hurt you. I said, you didn't want to. You just did it anyway. Emily snapped at him. Stop apologizing. This isn't all on us. That sentence will haunt me forever. Here's where things got even more surreal. Emily started crying. Not quiet crying. Loud, performative sobbing. The kind with tears, but no shame. She said, I felt lonely. You stopped paying attention to me. Jake listened. I asked, so you slept with my brother? She screamed, don't reduce it like that. Jake tried to put a hand on her shoulder. I lost it. I told him to get the hell out of my house before I called the cops. He hesitated, actually hesitated, until Emily told him to leave. Not me. Her. After he left, she sat on the couch like this was a normal marital disagreement. Like we were about to negotiate chores. She said, I still love you. I said, no, you love comfort. She asked if we could work through this. Asked if we could go to counseling. Asked if we could keep it quiet from the family for now. Then she dropped the real bomb. Oh, and I might be pregnant. I laughed. Again. That hysterical, broken laugh. I asked, is it mine? She didn't answer right away. That was the moment the marriage died. Not with screaming or violence, but with silence, and the sudden understanding that the woman in front of me was capable of anything as long as it benefited her. That night, I slept in my car. And for the first time in months, the confusion was gone. Only pain was left. I woke up in my car at around 6 a.m. with a stiff neck, a pounding headache, and about 100 unread messages. Mostly from Emily. A few from my mom. One from Jake that just said, please talk to me. I didn't respond to any of them. When I finally went back into the house, Emily was already awake, sitting at the kitchen table like she'd been there all night rehearsing. She looked tired. Not guilty tired. Strategizing tired. She immediately started talking. No, good morning. No, I'm sorry. I scheduled an appointment with a therapist, she said. For us. I also called my doctor about the pregnancy thing. We don't know anything yet. So don't spiral. Don't spiral. Right. I asked her one simple question. If I hadn't caught you, would you have told me? She didn't even pretend. She shrugged and said, eventually. That word did a lot of damage. Then she started rewriting history. Said our marriage had been basically over for a year. Said I was emotionally unavailable. Said Jake just happened to be there. According to her, this wasn't betrayal, it was self-care. I reminded her that she'd planned a vacation with me 2 months ago, that she'd talked about renewing our vows, that she'd looked me in the eye and said she felt lucky. She smiled sadly and said, people can feel more than one thing. That's when I realized counseling wouldn't fix this. You can't rebuild trust with someone who lies as easily as breathing. I told her I wanted space. Real space. I packed a bag. She asked where I was going. I said, anywhere you aren't. As I walked out, she said, you're really going to blow up the whole family over one mistake? One mistake. Right. I didn't look back. I stayed at a friend's place for a few days, just trying to think. Sleeping poorly, eating worse. My brain kept looping through every single memory. Family dinners, holidays, small favors Jake had asked for. All the times Emily had smiled at him innocently. Every laugh suddenly felt like a lie. I started going through my phone, messages, photos, emails, looking for proof. Not because I didn't already know, but because part of me couldn't accept reality without holding the evidence in my hands. That's when I found it. A folder on Emily's cloud drive labeled Trips with Jay. Pictures of them together, in hotels, in parks, in my own backyard when I was at work. Screenshots of conversations she'd deleted from her phone. Detailed plans for secret weekend getaways. Everything neat, organized, like she'd been preparing for this forever. I wanted to burn the laptop. Smash it. But I didn't. I sat there, staring at the screen, feeling something I've never felt before. Pure, icy rage mixed with a hollow, sinking sadness. The betrayal wasn't just from her. It was from my brother too. My blood. Later that day, I called my mom. I needed advice. I needed someone neutral. She listened quietly, then said, "You're not losing your mind. You're losing them. And that's not your fault." Her words helped a little. But what helped more was deciding I wasn't going to fall apart in private. Not yet. I had to face them, see the truth in their eyes, and set the rules. I didn't know it yet, but the confrontation was about to get way uglier than that first night. A week later, I went back to the house. I didn't text, I didn't call, just walked in. Emily was on the couch, scrolling her phone, like I was some random stranger. Jake wasn't there yet. I closed the door behind me and took a deep breath. "We need to talk," I said, voice steady. She didn't look up. "About." I slammed the folder from her cloud drive onto the coffee table. Photos, screenshots, everything. She finally looked at me. Not scared, not guilty, just annoyed. "Really?" she said. "You're going through my stuff?" I said, "I don't need to go through your stuff. You left a trail. You made it impossible not to see." She laughed, low and bitter. "Impossible? Or you finally woke up to reality?" I froze. That sting of contempt. I had married this woman. This woman. I asked, "Why him?" She rolled her eyes. "Why not? He listens. You've been checked out for months." Checked out. Checked out. I felt my hands shake. Months. All the subtle signs I'd ignored, the late nights, the perfume, the inside jokes, she turned into justification. I told her, calmly but clearly, "I can't do this. Not anymore. I want a divorce." She gasped. "Divorce? Over what? A mistake? We can fix this." I laughed bitterly. "A mistake? You slept with my brother. You lied every day for months. That's not a mistake. That's a choice." At that moment, Jake walked in. Emily's eyes went wide. Mine went cold. He said, "Look, man, I cut him off. Leave. Now." He hesitated, then turned and walked out, dragging his feet like a guilty child. Emily sat there, expressionless. I realized something crucial then. Betrayal isn't just the act. It's the way they try to make you feel like you're the problem. And I wasn't going to let them do that anymore. It's been about 2 months since I moved out. I live in a small apartment now, alone, and I'm slowly rebuilding a life that feels like mine again. Emily is still in the picture legally, of course. We're finalizing the divorce, but I've cut almost all contact. Jake? Blocked. Family dinners are awkward as hell, but I've started saying no. I'm learning to put myself first. Emotionally, it's a weird mix. Anger still flares sometimes when I remember the betrayals. Sadness hits randomly, like a gust of wind. But there's also clarity. I know now that trust isn't just given. It's earned, and when it's broken this badly, it can't just be fixed with apologies or therapy sessions. Some people aren't capable of the loyalty you expect, no matter how much you love them. The biggest lesson I've learned: denial can be comfortable, but it's dangerous. Don't ignore your gut when little signs pile up. And most importantly, never let anyone convince you that their lies are your fault. That was my biggest mistake. To anyone reading this who might be in a similar situation, pay attention to your instincts. Don't rationalize red flags. And when someone betrays you this completely, it's not weakness to walk away, it's strength. I won't lie, it still hurts. But I also finally feel like I'm free to grieve, heal, and eventually, maybe, trust again. On my own terms.